Allah, don't let me stray. Please guide my way onto the path of my deen. Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah, I'm calling your name.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk on your favorite channel, Huda TV. I'm your host, Arkham Rashid. It's that time of the year again where students all around the world are stressing and worrying about their final exams which are coming up. So for this very reason, we've brought you a very special episode in which we will discuss different ways that you can study and prepare for your exams and cut out all sorts of distractions. We also encourage you during the show to call in and share your ideas, your thoughts, tips that you use to prepare for your exams and cut out all sorts of distractions. So let's start off by getting to know our guest. If I can start with my right brother, if you can give us your name, where you're from, and a little bit about yourself. Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ahmed Honest Kashiri. People usually call me Honest. From the U.S., California, and I'm currently a student at Al-Azhar University.
All right, Honest, it's wonderful to have you on the show once again.
Thank you.
All right, brother, if we can get your name, where you're from, and a little bit about yourself.
Yes, I'm Ahmed Shafi'i. I'm a graduate of Al-Azhar University. I can say language and translation department.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since I graduated, I've been working as an English instructor.
Okay, Ahmed, it's wonderful to have you on once again. The last time you've made an appearance with us here on the show was before January, if I remember correctly.
So I'm happy to be with you back.
All right, it's wonderful having you back once again.
Thank you.
If I can go over here, brother, if I can get your name, where you're from, and a little bit about yourself. Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Hello, my name is Ahmed Ramadan. I'm from Egypt. I'm 25 years old. I'm an English teacher, and I'm a student at a master's degree.
All right, Ahmed Ramadan, it's wonderful to have you once again on the show.
The pleasure is mine.
All right. Brother, if we can get your name, where you're from, and a little bit about yourself. Go ahead.
I'm Yusuf Jaf from Bosnia, and I'm studying at Al-Azhar University, the fourth year at Sharia Law.
So you're almost done.
Almost done, maybe 2 months, and I'm counting.
So you're from Bosnia, you said?
Yes, I'm from Bosnia.
And how do you like the comparison between the two countries, Egypt and Bosnia?
Regarding the education, or the educational system in Eastern European countries regarding me is maybe one of the best in the world. Because we are trying to be between the Eastern ways and the Western ways, between the memorizing and between the just philosophy, just understanding, between just memorizing it, to join these two ways.
Okay, so it's nice to have you on the show, and this is the first time I'm having you on the show with me, at least.
Yes, with you.
All right, so once again, it's nice to have you.
It's my pleasure.
So I want to start off by asking you guys, let's start with the main question. What are some of the obstacles, if we can identify some of the obstacles first, that you can face while you're trying to study?
One I'd definitely put on top of the list is delaying your time, or procrastination. You know, so people they just try to find excuses. You know, excuses to to not study. You know, for example, you do your chores. Even if you don't do them, usually just do other stuff other than studying, because tests or exams can be really overwhelming and daunting. You know, the experience can be stressful to you and whatnot, and you try to avoid that experience.
You don't want to feel that stress.
Yeah.
You look for things to...
Yeah, basically. So, and through that, you're just basically wasting time, you know, through delaying, basically. And one other thing I'd say is the addiction of the 21st century, as in the internet. You know, the usage of social media, the interwebs, and everything, because the internet itself, and the usage of it is it's vast. You know, you could do lots of stuff on it. You know, it's basically like a double-edged sword.
I know what the internet is. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. Since we're in the 21st century, I'm just giving a breakdown to people that don't.
I'm just joking.
Yeah. So it has its benefits and it has its downfalls. So basically, it depends on how
you
the
use
sword
it.
bearer use it. So those are like my top two.
Those are your
at the
top
moment.
two.
Yeah.
All right, Ahmed, if I can get your...
Yes, I can tell. Actually, one of the main obstacles students have, they don't know actually what they are up to. They just go with it, and they go to college and they come back, or they go to school and they come back, and they keep postponing things. Okay, so I'm gonna study like a day, or I'm gonna study a month or a week right after the, and they don't. And when they get to study, they are surprised with that amount of things that they have, and they don't know how to deal with it. So actually, that was one of the main. So first of all, they don't know what they're up to. They don't know the elements of what they have to acquire. Okay, and later on, and secondly, actually they don't have the correct or the right environment for studying. When they try to study, they actually there are a lot of distractions around them, and they don't get to use these distractions in their own benefits. So I know one of my friends. He used to study in, I can say, in a distracting environment, but in time he tried to take advantage of this to his own benefit. So he tried to, for example, to get to play. For example, he has younger brothers, he has younger siblings who live with and who cannot avoid, actually, because by any means he cannot avoid them. So he started to tell them what he's doing and study with them, actually, and try to be a teacher with them, okay, to overcome this problem. But he got them interested in what he does. But not all the students can do such a thing, because with a lot of distractions, TVs, internet, and
cell phones.
Yes, cell phones. Actually, this is one of the major problems. Actually, yes, and video games. Tell me about it. So something actually. So all of these, they take you away and they put you down. You want to study, but once you remember something. Yeah, I wanted to check blah blah blah. So and that pulls you, drags you out of the mood of studying, and then you get to waste your time in these things. So I can tell, say, the major thing they don't know actually when they are studying for a test, they don't know what amount of studying they are up to.
Yeah.
And they don't provide the great environment for themselves.
Okay.
Yes, these are two of the major problems we have.
Okay, I'm going to shift the question to this side of the panel and get your guys' thoughts on it.
Well, actually, I second what my brother said. A lot of distractions in life, and personally, I used to be a big one who delays his study till just 1 month or 1 month and a half just before the exams. But the biggest distraction and the biggest obstacle I've ever had in my life was in the final year of the secondary stage. I used to be a very good student in the secondary stage, but what happened is that I had a problem. I had a little sister and she passed away 2 months right before my finals. So I didn't study. I didn't study right before this accident, and after half of my subjects, they weren't finished yet, and I didn't know what to do. I was something like distracted. Don't know. Yeah, my mind was wandering and remembering these past memories when she was with me, and I used to love her a lot. But later on, I started to study and a little bit improving my performance in studying. But this year was the hardest regarding talking about exams and and preparing for exams. Yeah, it was a tragic year. But in fact, for me, it's a problem when you are a fan of a sport like football.
The sports.
Yeah, sports and watching TV. And these days, of course, the internet and, you know, to have a lot of acquaintances, a lot of friends, and you just need to be with them all the time. But after graduation, even, you still have, you know, some obstacles, some distractions when you are preparing for something like the masters or like a proposal or something. Now I'm preparing my proposal and, you know, working, you know, family commitments and, you know,
So are you
these
saying,
problems in life.
the TV is a distraction for you?
No, of course not. No, it's a chance for me. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So yes, but I'm just trying to overcome these distractions and, you know, to be here, and here.
May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant your sister the highest levels of Jannah, inshallah. I mean, okay, brother, if I can get your thoughts on it, Yusuf.
About, you know, the maybe one of the basic obstacles is that students don't know how to study.
Sure.
You know, these basic steps, you know, first you must listen, read. After you must try to understand. And after understand, then you must start to memorize. So they're starting not to reading and memorizing, lefting this one of the major keys, understanding. You know, because if you, for example, you have this page, you don't understand maybe one line or two lines. If you don't understand this, maybe the next year the similar subject, you'll have 4 lines, and at the end of the first year you will.
So it's
only pure memorizing.
Yeah. So it's the foundations that need to be
the
stronger.
foundations. They must try to understand everything. If it can be difficult sometimes, but you must try to understand every word in that sentence, every word in that section, before you start into memorizing. Because if you don't understand, it will be like just after you exit the exam room, you will forget everything. So it will be like only just memorizing for a success.
Like the East, you said.
Like in the East.
Okay. What I want to do, I want to go around again to you guys and find out some of the solutions for the problems we've just stated and named. But before that, we're going to take a look at a short video, so stay tuned.
How perfect my Allah is, and I praise. Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi, subhanallahi al-azim. How perfect you are, Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Hey guys, welcome back to Operation Self Reset. I'm Jake Naraki, and we are here in my basement because I just got done with a promotional exam. And as you can see to the ridiculous amount of study material to my left, I figured out 4 key tips that kept myself in the chair and kept my mind focused on the task at hand. So stick around. I figured out there's 4 things about me that I really truly needed to do to obtain success when it came to studying. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I figured out a couple of things along the way. Step number 1, timer. I use my iPhone as my timer. At first, when I sat down, I would always try to go for at least 1 hour. I would go up to my clock app, and I would, do a stopwatch and let it go up to one hour. And I thought 1 hour would be ideal, then I could walk around, go to the bathroom, whatever. I couldn't sit in this chair for literally more than like 15 minutes. I can't sit more than like 20 minutes. I cannot sit for more than 50 minutes. You feel stiff and your neck hurts and your back, and I'd be like, my brain would be separated from my body. I was actually cleaning at one point in the basement here. I was like, what the heck am I doing? Shivering and like sweating. Freak out. My brain would be thinking about trips and inventions and the podcast and all that crazy stuff. But as time went on, I was able to increase my time from 20 minutes all the way up to 40 minutes. At 40 minutes, I literally had to get on up and walk around, stretch the legs and things like that. So if you're a person that's very antsy, your mind's all over the place and everything like that, I highly suggest you guys set your timer for maybe 15 minutes at first, get up, walk around, then increase it over time to get to that 40 minutes to an hour range, and figure out a time that works for you. Because what's the point of sitting down and trying to study when you can't even focus? So that really helped me, and I hope that helps you. Step number 2, keep things close by. I always kept a gallon of water and some snacks close by. The reason is you don't get up out of the chair. The thing is, the only way to learn the material is to keep seated. Step number 3, noticing the shirt I'm wearing right now. It's a positive shirt. It's from Think Positive Apparel, and this is a Buddha in the middle, but all these lines that are coming in here are positive sayings. I'm not saying that you need to be wearing positive shirts to keep you focused, but use positive thinking to your advantage. Understand why you are doing this test or promotion or whatever it may be. Why are you sitting here studying away when you could be hanging out with friends, family, doing other things that are more enjoyable than studying? Nobody really likes studying, but the thing is, understand what you're doing it for and stay positive about it. Notice the outcome that will happen if you pass that test or promotional exam. And if you're having trouble staying focused with your goals and understanding why you're doing this, as you can see behind me, I got a brick wall. I put my goal right in front of me. I hung a little goal sheet, and it reminded me when I would sit up and stretch my neck and crack my back, probably like all you guys do. It just kept me focused. It made me understand why I'm doing this. And sometimes we know why we're doing certain things, but we get off track and we think this is ridiculous or bogus, or I want to, go hang out with my friends tonight or watch that TV episode. But if you keep a little reminder by you, you should be at least focused somewhat. So, step number 4, as you can see, like I've been saying, we're in my basement. It's not the most ideal situation, but, with a newborn and a wife at home, I got to keep myself close to home so I'm able to help out whenever I can. Now, if I was to go to a Starbucks or the library, I'd have to pack up all my gear, and that would take 20 minutes, and then drive there, drive home. I'm wasting time when I could really be just studying in my basement. So my suggestion to you is find a nice little quiet space within your house, and if you don't, it might be tough to do, but give it a try, because throughout our days, we might only have 30 minutes, or we might only have 10 minutes to tackle a study little session, or maybe go over one chapter. So if you have a nice little area within your house, basement or office, whatever it may be, you're able to knock out little increments of studying instead of these big chunks. So that really worked for me. So I think with these 4 tips, number 1, having a timer, setting a time, either 10 minutes all the way up to an hour, figuring out a time that works best for you. Number 2, getting yourself some water and some snacks right by you so you don't feel obligated to get up and break your study session. Number 3, think positive, know why you're doing it, for a promotion or a test, for your ultimate goal at the end of the day. And number 4, find a nice little quiet spot within your own house, and that might be hard to do. But the good thing about it is that you're able to run down here real quick and study away. With these 4 steps, I really think that you're going to be able to focus a little better. If you guys have some tips, and I know you do, some really crazy ideas that you guys have thought of throughout your study habits for a promotional exam, for a test, or just studying in general, or just reading in general,
Subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Welcome back to Let's Talk. I hope you guys enjoyed that short video. Now, he mentioned 4 very important tips, and I want to get my guest thoughts on that. So if you guys can tell me your thoughts, what did you think of those 4 things he mentioned? He mentioned number 1, keeping a timer. Number 2, keeping things close by. Number 3, your intention, positive intention. And number 4, environment. What do you think?
His points were inspirational, like for a student, and helping them succeed and whatnot. His 3rd point, actually, I think is like the essence of studying. The purpose of why you're studying. What do you like? Why are you here? For example, for me, why have I come to this country? And all purpose behind it. And I think that interrelates with like basically intention. In Islam, where like all intentions are with their
all actions are based on
actions are based on
إنما
intentions.
الأعمال بالنيات.
Yeah, and so that's really like the spirit of how what keeps you going. For why do you study? That's like a motivator.
Motivator,
in
sure.
itself, yeah.
What do you think, Ahmed?
Yes, I think these tips are marvelous, actually. But first of all, before I get to talk about this, I wanted to comment on something my brother said, because actually I had been in this while I was a student, which is I get to understand everything, everything I study, and I was determined not to pass anything I don't understand. That actually put me off other things and put me off the rest of the subject I was studying. So I actually every time I go back over what I studied and I try to understand it more, and I try to study it harder than this, and the things I didn't understand, I tried to. So, and that was actually a major problem for me, because actually I didn't move forward regarding this. So what I say, I have to overlook at everything I have, okay, and after that, so I know everything totally, so in generally, and then I get to break it down later on, and I get to answer questions related to it, and I get to study it with my friends and explain it later on to myself. Yes, and one of the best things I say when I get to explain what I understand, okay, whether in a piece of paper or to one of my colleagues, or to even one of my parents, okay, or one of my siblings. So I believe this is a good idea. But to, for example, to stop, okay, and do not pass until you understand everything, that will hold you on, okay, that will hold you back actually on moving forward to the end, okay. But actually you can just take a note of this, and that means you need to get back to this later, and you move forward, and then until you cover everything, and then you know, you see, and now you have an overlock, and then you try to break it down and get everything fully comprehended. And if you, for example, if you have any feedbacks or any comments or any questions regarding it, you can go later on to one of your students. If you have the chance to get one of your students to study with, that would be great. Or to one of your teachers, or things like this. But the problem is, I just study part of, or I myself studied part of it, and I didn't want to move forward until I understand this, and that held me back from actually going
forward. And sometimes when you make a note of something that you didn't understand and go forward, and something that's interrelated helps you understand what you skipped.
That happened a lot, actually. Yes, that happened a lot. So actually, our friend in the video said that you set a timer for yourself, and try to get everything
close to you.
Yes, close to you, so that you don't need
to get up and give yourself an excuse to go grab something.
Okay, so actually I could use actually if this didn't work, I could actually use an extra hand. I could ask my father or my mother to keep up checking what I'm doing, or I can also study with one of my friends, and we keep checking, okay, what progress did we make, okay, in the subject we're studying. So that actually would be a good motivator. He said that when you get everything close to you, I can say sometimes I fall. And I get to, for example, when I keep he said, you're going to use your mobile as a timer. So my mobile, and so I remember that I didn't call one of my friends, or I remember I had to do something urgent and send something, or send an email,
you don't have to use your phone specifically. You can use a watch.
Yes, and that's my point. So this is actually the greatest distraction right now. So I have to keep it away from me, so that I stay focused, okay, on what I'm doing. He said to set a timer, actually, but he said you get things you need to, but I've read something that about eating junk food while studying. Actually, that I can say that some junk food, they take a lot of work of your stomach to digest, and that actually, I can say, reduce the performance of your brain.
Yeah.
So if you try to do or to get some food or some snacks close to you, so that you don't go up. So try to think of something something I can say brain nutritious. So you and there are, I can say there are favorite food. There is favorite food for the brain, so that you can
like nuts, almonds.
Nuts, all nuts. Actually, and almonds is one of the best. Actually, it helps you with your memory a lot.
Any sort of healthy snack.
Yes, and also fish. Okay, fish and seafood in general. So it's really you know, your brain loves this kind of food. Yogurt, blueberries, and so these things actually would help. Would help that keep your brain focused on what you're doing, and actually they won't keep you away or take you down from what you're doing. So if you are bringing something around you, so it has to be something actually, as we said, something brain nutritious. So and everything else he said, actually they were amazing actually. So I hope just we apply things like that, inshallah.
Okay, I want to get your guys' thoughts on it, but before that, we're going to go for a short break, so stay tuned.
How perfect my life is, and I praise. Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi, subhanallahi alazim. How perfect you are, Allah. Subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Deep in the deepest ocean, high in the highest mountain. Deep in the deepest ocean, high in the highest mountain. In the forest, in the desert.
Who Allah is, the names and the attributes of Allah, the Lordship, what Allah can do for you. Allah being the creator, the sustainer, the provider, the nourisher, the one who gives life and causes death. Oh Allah, you're the one who rose above the throne in a manner that suits your majesty. You hear everything that we say. You see the places where we are. You know what we reveal and what we conceal. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إنما الخمر والميسر والأنصاب والأزلام رجس من عمل الشيطان فاجتنبوه لعلكم تفلحون. Like through your intellect, you can figure out that this world came to existence because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who created this world? If you have a sound aql, a sound intellect, Allah is the one who created this world.
In the forest, in the desert, you can see God's creation. He made us different nation, and there's no differentiation.
Huda TV's social media sites are the best way to contact us from anywhere around the world. Stay connected with Huda TV's latest news and programs through Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube, Skype, and Instagram. It's fast and easy. Stay up to date with your favorite shows and scholars today. Huda TV, a light in every home.
Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Welcome back to Let's Talk. Now, before the break, we were discussing the different tips that were mentioned in the video that we watched. So I'm going to go let this side of the panel share their thoughts on the tips.
Actually, I like what the guy said. The two tips for my dear viewers who are about to have the finals. At first, yes, to set a timer, to set time for your study, your performance. You have to have something like a long run plan and a short time plan. Short time, regards your day. So what are you going to study today? And try to stick to your target, and try to set a big target, because you don't get everything you plan for. So don't make your target small in order to have the biggest share or the biggest deal you can do with your study. And as for the long run plan, don't delay, don't procrastinate, because this makes a problem at the end. So you have to have something like this month. For example, I studied 3 units, and by the end of this month I will have studied something like 3 units. So you'll come at the end, what you have to do is just to revise what you've been through all the year. And be positive. It's something I really liked about what he said. Yes, you are responsible for yourself, because it's your future, it's your life, and you are responsible for yourself and your life later on. So, and you have to have this intention, this idea in your mind that you have to be positive, and when you become something like successful man in life, you serve your religion, you serve your deen. So you have to have a goal. Why do I have to study? Why do I have to do all these, to go through all these difficulties? You have this idea in mind that I must be something. I have to be self-dependent. I have to be successful. This goal, make your goal superior. There must be something after I graduate. And after you finish, although they were difficult, but you will remember that these things were like beautiful memories after you finish your exams.
Okay, just a quick phone. We have a phone call from Brother Mahmoud. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I would like first to thank you for discussing such an important topic. And I would like to say that one obstacle to study actually could come from parents. So it's the pressure that comes from parents towards their kids, that could be one of the basic obstacles to the success of that kid. As a parent, I have a kid in the second grade, and I admit it, I sometimes push him to study more times than normal, and sometimes I give him exercises extra to the school homework, and many times I make him feel he's a failing student, is not good. If he gets 49 out of 50 in math or English, I make him feel like he didn't make a success in this subject. So actually, sometimes I feel I'm wrong, and I'm trying to relax my worry about him, but I couldn't overcome it like all the way through. Every time I just push him to study, I like tie him to the books, even though he's still too young. Sometimes I don't even I have him to study on weekends and holidays. So I feel I'm wrong, but I don't know how to relax such worry, how to solve my problem, how to overcome my concern about my child, because sometimes I feel if he's not gonna become a physician or an engineer or like a pharmacist, so he would be a failing young man, and he wouldn't be able to make any success in his life. So I appreciate if you could help me with that. Thanks so much. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam. First of all, Brother Mahmoud, I want to thank you for calling in to Let's Talk and sharing your thoughts with us. And I also recommend other viewers to call in, the numbers on our screen, and share your thoughts, your questions with us here on Let's Talk and to the viewers. So he mentioned a very good point that a lot of parents find it difficult to balance between encouraging their children and pushing them too far to study, you know, as far as making them study on their holidays, their breaks, their free time, and making them study all the time so they can achieve the highest possible marks they need to get. And this is a very important point, because sometimes what happens is that parents, they push their kids so much that the kid doesn't want to study anymore. Studying becomes something evil. It's either studying or play, and nobody wants to study anymore, and that's to the extent that parents push their children too. And I think one of the good ways we can balance it is similar to that timer tip you gave, that you set a certain amount of time for your children to accomplish their daily amount of study, and then you give them a certain amount of time to play. So you have to balance between the two. If you just leave them studying the whole day and give them no time to play, then they're not going to want to study, they'll resent it. What do you think?
Well, actually, the parent must be familiar with his kid's age, and you know, the distractions, his interests, and things he loves, things he doesn't like, things that may be you know, that may hinder him from studying. So pushing your kid to study all the time, you know, oppressing him to do that, of course he will find it something I don't like, so he won't perform. And by the way, you can push something to study. I can simply, you know, hold the book between my hands. I'm studying, but you know, inside there's a cell phone and I'm chatting with my friends. That may happen. So you have to be flexible, and by this policy of punishment and reward. For example, check out your kid's study at the end. Just ask him 2 questions or something like that. Make sure that he studied, and you know, if he answers, okay, just let him play. Even if his test is tomorrow, and if he doesn't if he didn't do what he was supposed to do on his day, just punish him. But make your punishment educational. You have to be educational, and you have to be really familiar with your kids' interests, because it's very important.
What do you think, Yusuf?
I think that one of the major points is that you must speak with your children.
Yes.
You must speak with them and put them like in the same level. Ask them, what do you want from your life? Just to know what he's thinking now. And from his speech, you can extract something for your plan with him. How, for example, if he is not want to study, from his thinking, you can see the things which are distracting him. So you can try to avoid this thing, to put it aside. But as it is important to speak with your children, but because some parents, I think that they can be astonished if they start to speak with children. They will find something which they haven't thought about, that their children is thinking about this.
That's a very good point. Communication is key.
Communication is key, because you don't know what is he thinking if you don't speak with him. Maybe he'll mention something. Maybe if you start to speak with him when he's maybe 6 years old, 7 years old, till 10 he will know how is he thinking. So you will have like a plan for him, and maybe doing that plan without his knowledge, and maybe he will think that he is doing what he wants, but it will be like he's doing what you want. But of course, not to push your children behind above his abilities.
And there's also another issue that most parents think that the best field for their children is either medicine or engineering, and they over-exaggerate in the importance for their child to either become a doctor or an engineer. And this sometimes, leaves bad effects on the child. Not every single person, not every single child has the capacity to become a doctor or an engineer. Some people have other talents, and there's nothing wrong with that. Each talent is equally, interesting and equally deserving of achieving that field. It's not that every single child has to be a doctor or an engineer. What do you guys think of this?
Yeah, that it's that over expectation of parents, and that's usually in the U.S. that happens to immigrant parents, because when immigrant parents, when they move to the U.S., they have this idea of seeing how America is like the land of opportunity and whatnot, and they can't mess up with their opportunity, and that goes for their children as well. And they try to instill that expectation of their child to be successful. You know, you can't let the family down. You know, gotta protect the honor of the family, and that really puts stress. You know, you're like you have this. You have to shoulder all this, you have to burden like everything that's going on, and if you fail, you're done, your life is this and that. And it's more on the, as what you said, communication is key, you know. I think there are like lots of parents where communication is really neglected, you know.
It's not even a thing.
It's not even a thing, it's just, how's school, and okay, go sleep, eat, and this and that. So we're losing the social tie between the parent and the child, you know, of how, as what the brother said, we have to be, like parents have to be on that same level, how the child would feel. So it's basically like that social tie. We need to keep it up with the parents and the child.
What do you think, Ahmed?
I think that one of the major things or one of the major mistake that parents, I can say, unaware of is incentives. They don't give incentives to their children. For example, whenever your child is doing good, you don't encourage him in an appropriate way. You don't give him something that, for example, that keeps him in the mood for studying, because actually, as long as I'm doing this, I'm going to get what I want, I'm going to get things that I like, and I'm going to get more respect, and so they don't, I can say, they don't make it up to their children. So they have to make it up to them, okay? Providing actually the perfect atmosphere for them, which is not totally provided. Sometimes that the parent themselves, they want to watch TV, and when for example, when it's time for studying in their children. Actually, every person is different from the other. Some people actually they stay up late in and they acquire the best study this way. Some others, no, they like to study. Yes, they wake up very early in the morning and get to study at this time. So, and we've got something in Arabic, وَمَنْ طَلَبَ الْعُلَى سَهَرَ اللَّيَالِي. So, and who wants success and who wants to be the first, he stays up all night, okay, studying and doing his best. And also the Prophet, peace be upon him, encouraged us to catch the I can say the first ray of the morning. So the first time in the morning, because actually this time is blessed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, al-barakatu fil bukur. So blessing is in being early. So this is some people, they prefer to study in the mornings, others at night. So you don't understand this with your children. So you get to understand this and provide what's best for them, what suits them best.
It goes back to communication is key. You need to understand the child.
Yes. Okay. So this is something should parents take care of. So one more thing. Okay, parents actually sometimes they overwhelm the children with other things. Okay, other tasks. When, for example, when they are excited to study. It happened with me personally. So I felt, so I was in a time that I really needed to study, and it was something important coming up. So I felt in the mood for it, and all of a sudden my father wanted me to do something else. I want to study right now. So no, you are going to do this. So, but I really want to study right now, so you do this. And when and when I'm not in the mood for studying, I say, why don't you study? Okay, so I feel like, so please understand me, I'm not you. Okay, so give me my own space. So they don't give their children their own space, and which is something, they miscommunicate at the end, and the results are not that good.
Yeah, like Yusuf mentioned, communication is key.
Yes.
Sometimes it's the reason behind every single problem.
That's generation gap. It's something. It's called generation gap, and it must be filled between the parent and his kid.
Yeah. Okay. The next thing I wanted to talk about is one of the most important problems we face, and it was mentioned by Honest here, and it was mentioned by Ahmed also, is the internet and your mobile phones or cell phones, and Facebook apps, Twitter, these things that are on your handheld devices,
Yes.
On your iPads, or something that you can use all the time. These are one of the major distractions. How can we avoid these things?
Well, the problem is now these things are very strong. They put you in something like another world.
Yeah.
And when you get out of this world, you feel it's something like bizarre. I know this is not my world. The real life. It's not my world. So, well, it depends on your intention. That I have to succeed. I have a lot of commitments. I have a lot of things to do with my study. So be strong. Be strong and be confident in yourself that you have to do it. And you can just use this Facebook or this the internet as something that helps you study. For example, you study alone and you can study with your friends on Facebook. A lot of difficult questions at the end of the day. Okay, just make 1 hour chatting with your friends. Okay, you can chat, you can have fun, but on this on the other hand, you can just ask them the questions that you find difficult or the things that you find difficult with your material. And they will help you. So if you can use it to be something for you, not against.
Yeah. What do you think, Yusuf?
Also, is one of the greatest problem is that nowadays they're using a lot of applications. Then they don't have only Facebook. They have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. For example, I have only Facebook, and of course the email. Yeah. So maybe
email is a distraction. I don't think so.
But if you have a lot of these things, you must check everything every day.
Yeah.
So it can be a distraction.
Not every day, a couple of times a day.
Couple of days, but at least one time per day. So if you have choose between Hotmail and Gmail, for example, choose between Facebook and Twitter, or for example, also it is one of the greatest mistake if you have 2 emails.
Yeah.
You give to that person one, you gave to that person the second, so you must give only one email, only one number. So if you have a 2 mobile phone, it is also a problem. Have only one mobile phone, have only one email.
Reduce the distraction.
Or if you have, for example, if you have a 2 email, don't use second. For example, for some mobile phones, you must have Gmail. Yeah. Don't use Gmail and Hotmail. Choose only one, because in time of the exams, it will make you a problem. And also to not speak a lot of your relatives, because nowadays a lot of connections is between these systems, these social nets. So just tell them, I have a study, we will speak after exams. It's also because the relatives can be a distraction, either at live or at net. So it also can be a distraction.
I think for things such as like Facebook, you can deactivate your Facebook account during your exam period. And another thing that you can do which is very good and very useful, is if you have the app, the Facebook app, you can actually delete it from your phone during the exam period. It's a free app, so you can re-download it at any time later on. But what happens is that if you have the app on your phone, you tend to just click it and just see what's in the newsfeed. But if you delete the app on your phone, then you don't have the option to click it. You have to download it first, and then you have to click it. So that laziness gets in the way, and you can use that laziness to your advantage.
I would go totally against what you say.
Sure.
So I'd encourage, if you are obsessed by the internet or Facebook or things like this, so trying to use it into your own advantage. So you get to set some groups to study
Via Facebook?
Yeah, to study. Yeah, to study together in these groups. Okay, so try to, if you are addicted that much to the Facebook or to the internet, so you can actually use it for your own good. Actually, I would say that you, if see the thing that distracts you in
The internet?
yeah, in the internet, whether if it's a certain group or for example, you are managing a certain page or something like this. No, go away from these and try to pay attention to the things that helps you in your study and that helps you in your in achieving your goal. So so use the things you are addicted to into your own good, because actually if it became an obsession nowadays in our lives. So if it's an obsession, so and it's hard to get rid of it, so use it to your own good. Why delete it? Why? So because if you delete it, some people actually, if some people are drug addicts, and others are Facebook addicts, and others are YouTube addicts. So if you are something like this, okay, so and you deactivated something like this from, and you deleted something like this from your own life, so actually you keep thinking about it. You would keep going back and forth.
Well,
okay,
if you're
something like this. No, actually use it, but actually control yourself. Okay.
Yeah. If you're that addicted to it, then there's a problem there. You need to start reducing that addiction. It's not something good. It's not healthy. If you're that addicted to it that you can't even leave it during exam period. But either way, we're coming to the end of this episode. So I want to thank you guys for joining me here today on Let's Talk and sharing your thoughts with the viewers and sharing some ideas and different ways that we can avoid distraction during the exam period. And I want to thank you, dear viewers, for tuning into another episode of Let's Talk. I hope you guys enjoyed and benefited from tonight's program. Also, I hope you guys take back with you some of these tips that we discussed here on tonight's program. So until next time, may God bless you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam.
How perfect my Allah is, and I praise Him. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi. Subhanallah. How perfect you are, Allah. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi. Subhanallah. How perfect you are, Allah. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah, I'm calling your name, Allah. I call you, I need you, Allahu Akbar. Allah, your mercy is great.